to my live stream. This is Jacob Cass 2024. We're gonna talk about WWE Smackdown. We're gonna go through the review awfully very fast. This will be like an hour. I think I'll make like an hour long because nothing much happened on SmackDown. But we will try to go through the show as quick as possible. I think we will do a AEW Dynamite. I will do a little bit of review on that. I'll talk about what happened on that show and the interesting ending that got people talking. We will go through the news and rumors in WWE and the build up to WrestleMania. Um, this video has been sponsored by JD from New York, Solomon the Sound Off, Joe Cronin's show, Wrestling with John WhatsApp, and my other favorite podcasters. Make sure you guys hit that like button, leave a comment, please subscribe to my channel. Let me know in the comments if y'all want to see more. Enjoy the video. It'll be like an hour long. Just want to say thank you for watching. Thank you for all the support. Alright. Alright. Now we're gonna try to go to as best as possible. John Cena breaks up with the fan. David Finlay win the 2025 New Japan Cup. Alright. Now this is AEW Dynamite with Mox and Copeland, a rematch from Revolution. Indie garbage. Now, that showed you what exactly happened. That was the big shot that a lot of people reacted. With what we saw in that main event with Copeland and John Moxley. That was sick. It was hard to watch. It was shocking. It felt uncomfortable. I mean, during that match, Adam Copeland did a suplex on John Moxley, and John Moxley landed on that spike. I don't think they should allow that. I'm surprised AEW allows it. And this is real, by the way. It was very brutal. I'm like, out. So uncomfortable, hard to watch. I'm only gonna show it just a couple of seconds, then I'll get back to my review. But yeah, that we saw on AEW Dynamite, it was a decent show. And why the woman main evented, but it is what it is. John Moxley, man, he's still a champion. The reign of terror continued. As well as the Death Riders. Adam Copeland, we know what he's doing. John Moxley, he's moving on to Swerve Strickland. I think Swerve might be in for the AEW World title pretty soon. But yeah, that was felt uncomfortable. Now this is Monday Night Raw, John Cena's heel promo, and this is SmackDown. Yeah, SmackDown was pre-taped. As you guys know, SmackDown was pre-taped. They were in Italy. They're still doing the European tours in Europe, so they're in Italy. Yeah, so I'm not gonna talk much about AEW. I'm gonna talk about SmackDown. I already showed you about AEW. It took a while for the referee to get that spike off of them. All right, no more of that. Now let me go into SmackDown tonight. Now this is what happened on Friday night SmackDown. Hope this is the right one that I'm on here. Now this is what we got on SmackDown. The show SmackDown was kind of an afterthought. SmackDown sucked. 3 hours is not enough. I can't wait till they end the 3 hours shit. But 3 hours is not enough. The show sucked. The show was an afterthought. The show was boring. Nothing happened. The only thing that mattered was the main event segment. All that mattered was that we got Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and CM Punk in this main event segment to close the show. They had a very good brawl. We're clearly setting up a triple threat match with these two. Are you still on the registry? What? What does that mean? What do you mean by that? Let me know. Alright, anyway, we got a great brawl here. It was decent. We're clearly doing a triple threat match. It hadn't been made official, but it will be. Punk, Rollins, and Wayne triple threat match. Don't know if it's gonna main event. I think it should. This is the biggest. There's more hype and more build and more story here, and we still don't know what CM Punk's favor is. Hopefully that will come into play. Hopefully that they tell us. Now we know Monday Night Raw gonna be in Monday Night Raw. We will Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes was not on the show today. He'll be on Monday Night Raw because he's not here for the show. He's in a feud with John Cena. They'll be in a face to face on Raw this week. Now this is how the show opened up. Randy Orton came out there, mega pop here. Kevin Owens got a pop. Randy Orton challenged Kevin Owens for WrestleMania 41. They already announced it, so it's been made official. Now this is just a grudge, man. There's nothing on the line. What are they fighting for? What are they fighting over? Randy Orton wanted to get his revenge on what Kevin Owens did to him all those months ago, hitting that power driver and taking him out for like 3 months. I think Randy Orton's gonna win here, and then he might be another picture going into Backlash in St. Louis, Missouri, since they're in his hometown. It might be up against Cody Rhodes or John Cena. Now, since Randy Orton's still babyface, I think at 3, maybe John Cena might win. I don't know. Recap what happened last week with Drew McIntyre between him and Damian Priest. We had the tag team match to open the show. Drew McIntyre and Shinsuke Nakamura versus Jimmy Uso and Damian Priest. Priest and Uso got the victory here. After that, we saw a brawl between McIntyre beating up Damian Priest and one over on him. Yeah, they're clearly setting up this match. I think Drew announced it that he's gonna see him next week. I think they announced it next week or the WrestleMania. I don't know, but not sure they announced it. It looks like that they did. Braun Strowman won the United States Championship. We had a whatever 7 with Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton. Felt kind of lame, kind of boring to me. It was just there. After the brawl we got, now we get this interview here. Kind of lame. We will go through that. Liv Morgan thinks Jay Carter isn't happy because she beat her. Jacob Fatu very angry with Sikoa. Jay Carter warned ending Liv Morgan and Naomi. She changed her hair and her appearance. Mystery video with the number 4. Another teaser of Aleister Black. McIntyre sends a message to Damian Priest. We have video packages of the Street Profits winning tag team titles from DIY last week. We had Legado del Fantasma, Angel Garza and Humberto against the Street Profits in an okay match that was decent. Street Profits got a new theme song. I don't know if the heels are babyface. I think the babyfaces. They have to be babyfaces and just facing the heel team here. Now since the Profits just won the tag team titles, they don't have a big feud going into WrestleMania. I don't think that they'll defend it. I don't think they should. The tag division is very slim on SmackDown, very, very awful. I don't think they're gonna be on WrestleMania defending these titles. And if they do, you might well put them on the pre-show. Or they do on the go-home show. Because the Street Profits had no opponent going into WrestleMania. They're not feuding with anyone because they just won the belt. Same thing with LA Knight. Now we got DIY and the Motor City Machine Gun will be first in line for the tag team titles. Pretty Deadly came out there to address the Street Profits, but they're not. They're pretty much dead. I mean, pretty dead, ain't going anywhere. We got another vignette, the newest Ray Phoenix teaser vignette. I can't wait for that. Braun Strowman and Jacob Fatu was a very good match, ended in the fuck finish, ended in a DQ, which was lame and lazy, but they waited to protect both guys, even though Braun Strowman shouldn't be protected. Fatu should be protected. He should be pushed. He should be in Strowman clean. But the match ended in the DQ because Sikoa and Tonga came out and attacked Braun Strowman, caused it to end the DQ. And then the babyfaces stood tall, Strowman and Knight, Knight came out there to help Roman, and they took the tall against the new bloodline. Uh, now, we're not doing Braun Strowman LA Knight for the title. Now, just because Braun Strowman won by DQ, we're not doing a one-on-one match. I think Jacob Fatu and Silver Core are going to get added. We may look at for the four-way. Because Braun Strowman not a WrestleMania match for the US title. And there's no heat, there's no story. They're both baby faces. It's going to be lame and boring. Jacob Fatu will get added. And I think Soul might get added. Now, since we have two triple threat matches that are already being booked for WrestleMania, we can do a fatal four-way. Braun Strowman, Jacob Fatu, Cole, and LA Knight for the US title. I don't think Jimmy's going to get added because I don't think that makes sense now. Or they could do something else, I don't know. But I think Fatu's going to win. Piper Niven and Zelina Vega, the match was given a lot of time. How long was the match? For 14 minutes? It was pretty good. It was decent. What, not perfect. Piper Niven got the victory here. I don't know why. What are they doing with her? They're building up Piper Niven. They're protecting her. Zelina Vega is a loser. Now, before she locked clean. Even though Chelsea was there, and I think Isla Dawn was there. Isla Dawn was there. Tried to screw with Zelina Vega, but Piper Niven still beat her clean. Jay Carter versus Liv Morgan were pretty good. Liv Morgan pinned Jay Cardell. I think this is the first time that we've seen Jay pin in the company. Now, see, a lot because Naomi got involved and screwed her over. So, Naomi's a heel. She's going to feud with Jade. Liv Morgan, she won half the tag team champions. And she pinned her because of Naomi. Recap of John Cena promo from Monday Night Raw. Yeah, there was no Cody Rhodes on this show. Look, I won 3-point celebration. Now, this was on NXT, by the way. Trick Williams KO'd Eddie Tope in NXT Underground. Obi and Trick and GR Evan get into a huge brawl here. Ricky St. shines in his first NXT singles win. Stephanie Vaquer challengers lined up for title opportunities. Chelsea Green defended her Women US title match against Saw. Definitely win the NXT Women's Championship. That it? That was really all on the show, by the way. Alright, here's Smackdown. This is what we got on Smackdown here. How the show opened. McIntyre leads a brutal attack on after Damien Priest. We got Charlotte and Tiffany. One throwing her the title shot after Jacob Fatu get the qualifying. Fatu gonna get involved. And again, they recap what happened on Raw this week. There was no Cody Rhodes, because why would he be? You can't put Cody Rhodes in a nothing segment. Can't put him on mid-TV again. Cody Rhodes will be on Raw with John Cena face to face. Can't wait for that. Naomi tweet Jade to a visit beatdown. Pretty good beatdown, by the way. Three profit, two lock dogs, like get local, Joel. Now this is on the Salcedo and Robin. We're gonna be talking about this. It's only 36 minutes long. Using my perspective of being able to do it in a truncated fashion, I would say not that either was bad, but
said that they were going to be making their way into a triple threat match at WrestleMania. And today, we finally had Roman Reigns go out there. We hadn't really heard him talk much since, since really before the Royal Rumble, right? So we hadn't really heard, Roman Reigns' thoughts on pretty much anything. But he just basically went out there, was super, super over with the crowd. I'm glad that he had like at least several minutes to kind of soak in the admiration from the crowd. So that was very fun. They were chanting in Italian. I really wish I knew what some of these chants were because they sounded really cool. I don't know what they're saying, but I'm here for it. You speak in Italian, Robin.
Yeah, I can say, I hear voices in my head.
You're like, no. Yes, they have some cool chants for Roman. I wish I knew what they were saying. So sorry, I can't inform the people on that one. But Roman basically addressed Seth Rollins and CM Punk, and very quickly thereafter, several minutes later, actually, we got Seth Rollins out there, and Seth basically tells Roman, like, hey, there's still another chapter in this book. But in this moment, Robin, I kept thinking to myself, like, yeah, Seth and Roman is cool, right? Fine. But everybody just cares about the CM Punk Roman Reigns element of this because even during this, people started chanting CM Punk. And then finally, CM Punk goes out there and this isn't, I don't, he didn't even get to say that, but she basically just went out there and, talked some shit to Roman, talked some shit to Seth, and we get right into this brawl. Like, the big thing, though, is that he did remind people that Paul Heyman still owes him a favor. He reminded Roman Reigns, the rules of the Royal Rumble and how it's every man for himself, and basically told Roman, like, you wouldn't have even made it to the Royal Rumble had I not helped you at War Games. And so kind of stated a couple of those facts. And then he kind of said a really, really big thing that had people going, huh? He basically told Paul Heyman, hey, thanks for serving Roman Reigns, your tribal chief, on a silver platter for me. And then Roman turns around and he's kind of like, what the fuck? Like, what's that mean? What are you trying to say? And during that, CM Punk goes from behind it, hits him with the microphone, and then from all out here, we end up getting a brawl between all three guys, and then we get a little bit of everything where each guy is fighting each guy because we know that each guy has like a different story, a different beef with the other person. And so that's pretty much how the show ended. The show ended 7 minutes early. So the brawl kind of lasted like a couple of minutes, but that's how we closed off. However, the big thing here though is that during the brawl, Seth Rollins did say, you, me, WrestleMania. So the challenge has essentially been issued. Now it's just a matter of them making it official for these three men to go to WrestleMania. So, Robin, how did you feel about the closing of the show with all these three guys?
Yeah, I thought it worked. Look, it's funny because sometimes I hear people say there's too much talking and not enough physicality. And in this case, they go, Punk and Roman should be like a one and done thing either. I think Punk and Roman could be an elongated program that really carries the company for a period of time. So I understand why they're doing it the way that they're doing it, and I understand why you would want these guys to mix it up so quickly to incentivize there being a triple threat at WrestleMania. Obviously, you go back to last year's WrestleMania, Roman Reigns has the beef with Seth that cost him. He has the beef with Seth from the Royal Rumble. CM Punk has the existing beef with Seth, which has been simmering for a while, and now we've introduced the CM Punk Roman Reigns aspect of things. So it feels like the natural progression of the story to have the triple threat at WrestleMania before, because if you're doing Roman Punk now, I'm sorry, Roman Punk is could take the shine off of Cena and Cody, or be right there. I mean, that's I think it might have more juice even, given the edge of those characters. So I do think this is the right natural progression. I think the triple threat itself could headline the other night at WrestleMania anyhow, and there's a natural reason for it to happen, and there's a natural place for it to go.
You make some good points here because here's the thing. I was about to come on here and say, like, I do think that Seth Rollins kind of feels, I don't want to say forced into this position because, again, he does have beef with Punk. He does have beef with Roman. We know that. But it does feel like the spotlight, the attention is on Roman and CM Punk to the point where I easily do think this could have been a WrestleMania match, just Roman and CM Punk. And obviously, I'm sorry, but we need to get this match one-on-one at some point. Maybe it'll happen at SummerSlam. I know that's sort of been the speculation that we tossed around here on the show. But it does feel like it could have just been that match there. But you did bring up some good points in the sense that it would have overshadowed John Cena and Cody Rhodes, at least for some people, it would overshadow. I think for me, I would be far more interested in Roman and CM Punk than Cody John Cena, just because I'm a little bit more invested in that in those guys, right? But that's the thing, though. This WrestleMania is hella expensive, Robin. I feel like we could have easily done Roman Reigns and CM Punk for those prices. Shit, give me both of those matches. So now I'm wondering though, because like, are they ever going to do those two separate matches, Roman and Seth and Roman and CM Punk? Like, we have to get both of those separate ones.
Yeah, and there's plenty of time to tell that. That's what I'm saying. They're not rushing it. Look, Seth Rollins felt like the extra wheel last year too, and he wound up serving a brilliant purpose at WrestleMania. So I'm willing to think maybe it's this versus all right. Here's CM Punk and Roman. We get it. I want CM Punk. I think it is the single best possible feud in wrestling right now. Not to mention the WWE. And one of the best that could ever be put on in history, right? But with that said, you want to do it justice. It's their job to put on.
Just a little bit more hotter there with Seth and Roman. And I think a lot of that, they do it like in so many like easy ways. I think WWE in these last couple of years, like I feel like that part is like they needed to just tell people like, hey, your assumptions of this being a triple threat, that's exactly what it's going to be. But also, look at how wild and uncontrollable this is. Like, all of these guys are mad at each other for different reasons. And the fact that they made it feel like kind of a wild frenzy of an ending, that's the part that I did like of this. And there are some things that I'm really like excited for. I can't wait to see the back and forth between CM Punk and Roman Reigns. I can't wait to see Roman Reigns almost sort of become a little bit, I don't know if paranoid is the right word, but we did see him be a little jealous of CM Punk and Paul Heyman's relationship. And even today, when he turned around to look at Paul Heyman with that question mark on his face, I like that he is doubting Paul Heyman. I like that he is second guessing Paul Heyman's alliance to him, that Roman Reigns is smart enough to be able to recognize that maybe Paul Heyman might have a different plan. Maybe he has a different agenda. So how much is he willing to trust his wise man? So I feel like that little relationship portion aspect of it between Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns is another really interesting part of the story. And so I think that with this, again, Seth Rollins, that needs to not feel like third wheel. They need to keep that portion of it up. The CM Punk Seth Rollins portion of it, we've seen a whole lot from these two guys already. So just continuing to keep that momentum going. And then, of course, with Roman and CM Punk, I mean, they can pretty much go out there and have tea, and we'd be pretty much invested in it because, again, it's fresh news. During, before, after this WrestleMania match, all of that. This is the one that's making me feel like we're on the road to WrestleMania.
Well, here's why it makes sense, and here's why I don't feel like Seth Rollins feels like an extra, addition. The beef is with Seth Rollins. The seeds are with Paul Heyman. The beef is with Seth Rollins in the sense of we go back to last WrestleMania, go to the Rumble. What happened at the Rumble? Who did Roman go after at the Garden when he came back? He went after Seth Rollins. That's who he's at. Meanwhile, how long have we had CM Punk and Seth Rollins beef? Since CM Punk's return, it was the infamous Seth Rollins image. He sort of represented, how could you bring this guy back to the company? And they had their feud going on since then. So the beef is with Seth Rollins both ways. The seeds are with Paul Heyman to get us to CM Punk and Roman Reigns. Because Roman didn't go after CM Punk until he saw him with Paul Heyman. CM Punk didn't get up on Roman Reigns on Smackdown today until Paul Heyman was involved. So that's what I like about the triple threat aspect of it, the beef and the seed.
Something, the beef and the seed. We're going to go to super chat. Let's see what you
Sounds a little dirty when I think about it like that.
And he says, did love today's show for Zelina match. Like, they brought it back, and they, like, for a couple minutes they were down, then, like, they remembered, and then they got right back up. So, like, kudos to them because they really did keep the energy up for 3 hours. Thank you so much, Sarvasha. We got Kevin Zicker who says that's the pin book it. I feel like because that is such an obvious way to go about it, that may not be the direction they go. You know? I think they might want to make it a little bit less like, all right, we kind of already know that Seth Rollins is the third wheel in this feud. You don't want to also have him be the one to take the pin.
Unless it's Paul Heyman who puts Seth in the position to get pinned somehow for the eventual victor, which would then make me think it would be CM Punk.
Right, right. I just feel like it would be much bigger deal. Like if Roman Reigns won, I would want him to pin CM Punk, and if CM Punk won, I would want him to pin Roman because that to me would just feel like a much bigger deal. Be like, oh holy shit, he really did that. I need the holy shit reaction. I don't think I'm gonna get the holy shit reaction if CM Punk pins Seth. Well, actually, I might if CM Punk pins Seth only because that would be regardless CM Punk winning at WrestleMania, especially the main event, is going to get a reaction out of me. And if Roman pins Seth Rollins, I'll be like, okay, cool, Roman Reigns won, but that won't get the oh shit moment out of me.
But again, I think the oh shit moments come is involving Heyman. I think that's whatever that shit, however that I mean, they've been you re-mentioned it for a reason, right? That favor, what better place to cash it than at WrestleMania or to pay that off at a WrestleMania? And again, then you get the WrestleMania moment without it having to be Punk and Roman one-on-one, because that's.
We got Christopher Marino here who says this could lead to a full Seth heel turn. I've been wanting a full Seth heel turn. I want it. I need it. Let's go for it. Robin, is that something you'd be interested in?
Yeah, I feel like Seth needs a little something to spice him up, change his direction a little bit because of the CM Punk can go out there and call him Grimace, and yeah, I
Lisa inspired photo of Liv Morgan, and I was calling it the Mona Lisa. Go through it because there wasn't too much. Like that was really the biggest thing. But another WrestleMania match was made at the top of the show. It is official. We're going to be seeing Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens. This was pretty simple. I mean, he came out. Randy Orton, obviously being pissed, but Kevin Owens, this was the interesting part. Kevin Owens tried to like get chummy with him once again. He was like, let's just, be on good terms and let's just go and be the, a tag team, right? Let's go to WrestleMania as a tag team. And obviously Randy Orton was like, no, I'm not going to do that. And clearly he's not going to do that considering that Kevin Owens took him out with Pile Driver and had him out there for months. So this match was issued and later on in the show it was confirmed. Robin, what did you think of this opening segment? And are you looking forward to Randy versus KO?
I am. I thought it was really good for him, and I like the Kevin Owens sort of groveling a bit, and Randy Orton spitting it back in his face. So they've been telling this story for a minute too, and that's one of those common themes in the Triple H regime. Is every now and again they'll talk about.
Tell me with Kevin Owens, like they're gonna fight for WrestleMania. With that, yeah, no, they for sure will. All right, let's keep it going here. We got a tag team match with Drew McIntyre and Shinsuke Nakamura versus Damian Priest and Jimmy Uso. Damian Priest got the win for his team. Really, honestly, the big thing to say about this is I'm really interested in this Damian Priest Drew McIntyre story. It's been very, very simple so far. Drew McIntyre stated why he's pissed at Damian Priest having ruined his WrestleMania moment. He feels he ruined it, which he did, but now says he's going to be ruining his life. And it's now been 2 weeks back to back where he's claymored and attacked Damian Priest, and I'm just liking it. He did the exact same thing this week, but I'm interested.
It's gotten better, and more heated as you get closer to WrestleMania, which is what you want. Obviously, this is like a mid card match in WrestleMania, but if they can get you invested, you care about that, and also leaves me a little intrigued because I'm not sure where it's going. Right, like it feels pretty. Drew has felt like he's on a higher level, and
When you think about his big WWE moments, you obviously think about the match with Bad Bunny. And I feel like if we had another reminder of Damian Priest and what he can do, I think the fans would kind of get behind him once again. He got a great reaction, obviously, in Italy. In the States, it's a little bit different. I think that in order to kind of boost a little bit of his aura, we can get back to something here. Just continue on with this back and forth because I do think they have a really good potential story here. So I did like that. All right. saying that, Tiffany Stratton doesn't really deserve to be in the spot. Like, she's undeserving, right? And that Charlotte is the one that is basically just like, this is a big deal for Tiffany, but it's not really the same thing for her because she's just, going in there going to have another accolade, whereas Tiffany Stratton is again under deserving of this, right? I kind of didn't like that part of it because I'm like, okay, at the end of the day, Charlotte, you picked Tiffany Stratton. She had the option of picking Rhea Ripley, but she picked Tiffany Stratton. And that was the big thing that I remember when she had told Tiffany Stratton, oh, you're going to have to beg for me to pick you. And then it was like the week afterwards, all of a sudden she goes after she attacks Tiffany Stratton and she's like, I picked you. So there was never that moment or that convincing moment that Tiffany had to get up on and say, hey, this is why. Like, she was never a threat to Charlotte. And that's the part that I wish that we did get to see at one point. I did wish we get to see Tiffany Stratton as a threat to Charlotte. But
on March 28th.
This guy, he's got a gun in his pocket.
We're on the table. Got it.
before Charlotte actually accepted her. Robin, are you frozen? 45 seconds to like a minute or so. Okay, so basically what I had said, just to reiterate really quickly, was that I felt that Charlotte Flair contradicted herself in this promo by saying, she was the one who picked Tiffany Stratton in the first place. And so I do want to see Charlotte feel more threatened by Tiffany Stratton. So that was the big thing that I kind of disassociated from this promo. The other thing was that they still need to work on with Tiffany Stratton with her promos. They still need to help her out a whole lot with those. So I hope that they give her more opportunities to do promos like this because obviously practice makes better. But there were moments where I lack of confidence from Tiffany.
Should feel that way. And that elevates her. But
You and Braun Strowman. So this one was interesting too. They're having a pretty fun match. Got to see Braun Strowman get a lot of offense in on Jacob Fatu. But Coca-Cola goes in there and he tries to help Jacob Fatu, but this ends up leading to a DQ because they all attack Braun Strowman. But Jacob Fatu was not having it with it. He did not like that. And even when Solo Sikoa was out there, he was giving him like a really dirty look. And then backstage, he basically told him like, why the hell did you do that? Like, you did not need to go in there. Like, I was gonna have the Braun Strowman finish, and it's true. Solo Sikoa did not need to go out there. So what I'm sort of possibly, because this ended up being obviously the winner of this match. The winner of this match got a U.S. title shot next week. So we are going to be seeing Braun Strowman versus LA Knight for the U.S. title. So this kind of screwed up Jacob Fatu and screwed him out of this opportunity by going in there and having this end up in a DQ. So with that being said, I'm curious, in heading into WrestleMania, are we going to see like Jacob Fatu go after Braun Strowman again? Or is it going to be Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa at WrestleMania? Because I think it's clear that Fatu is not happy with Solo Sikoa.
oh yeah. They've been talking about the seeds. Eventually going to be beat there for sure. Between those two. But it's a good thread because you're right. I didn't even think about Solo and Fatu at WrestleMania. I think I would kind of prefer Strowman and Fatu at WrestleMania, and maybe that's how you get Fatu strapped up with the U.S. title first.
Right. I mean, Braun would have to defeat LA Knight this coming Saturday, and I was thinking, not Saturday, Friday. I was thinking about that. And honestly, I'm here for it. If it means Jacob Fatu will defeat Braun Strowman at WrestleMania for the U.S. title, I'm here for that.
Yeah, and I feel like they need that appropriate, Jacob Fatu almost killed Braun Strowman, basically twice, right? But especially the one time. And Strowman, they've done a pretty good job, I think, making him not look bad in that regard and keeping him on that, like, huge, big guy.
I feel like depending on what they want to do, they can tell either or story. They have plenty of time to get to either of those options. All right, Piper Niven defeated Zelina Vega. Not really too much to say about this. Piper Niven wins. Decent performance. Anything that stood out to you for this, Robin?
No, yeah, I think he summed it up there. Solid match, but it was just one of those when I was watching Smackdown, using her size to get
with the championship bout when the ref wasn't looking. And
Randy Orton built towards something. I think obviously the triple threat we talked about at the beginning built towards something. What we just referenced with Jacob Fatu, Solo Sikoa.
Like, this was not a bad tag team match, but yeah, this was just, I felt like we've seen them a bunch, which we actually haven't. I ended up searching and we hadn't seen this match since December, so even though it felt like we just saw it, we actually just saw it lastly back in December, so there you go. And matches for next week's Smackdown, we've only announced a few, of course, LA Knight versus Braun Strowman, which we just mentioned earlier, for that U.S. title. So the chance the title to change hands, we'll see. Pretty Deadly versus the Street Profits. They are the number one contenders. We did have some back and forth promos. And of course, this is for the WWE Tag Team title. Street Profits got a great reaction from the Italian crowd. People chanting, "You deserve it." They brought back the Pride theme song. We were definitely feeling like a little bit more revamped here, Robin. But any thoughts on the matches that were announced for next week as well as the tag team segment?
Well, the tag, I want to see, to me, if I'm looking at the whole tag team, the first plug.
Country. And it took two Raw guys to try to save the show in the closing segment. Because on the whole, outside of a very lively, rowdy Italian crowd in Bologna tonight, this is a very boring show.
It was.
Boredom in Bologna. I wish I had something better to report to you. This show was not it tonight, especially not at 3 hours. But this was the big confrontation. It was Roman Reigns back on SmackDown. CM Punk said he was flying to Italy. He was going to be there to confront Roman Reigns. And then Seth Rollins the other night on Raw, not one to want to be left out, says, you know what? Those guys are going to be on SmackDown this week. I'm going to show up too. So we had all three in the ring together at the same time. And what I was kind of hoping for is that we would get a fire promo with Roman and Punk going back and forth on the mic. Seth, I could take it or leave it with him. But Roman and Punk back and forth on the mic, we haven't really had a chance to see that yet. And that really would have helped a lot by the time we got to the end of this show. And it was fine. And they, without saying so, clearly established this is going to be a triple threat match at WrestleMania this year. But outside of that, we had a big pull-apart brawl because we have so many of those now. Every week, we have pull-apart brawls on every show. WWE, AEW, I mean, the pull-apart brawl has been abused at this point. We had a great one recently with Punk and Rollins. That was great. That was one of the best ones I've seen in a long time. But we had yet another one here to close out this show. And when it was over, I actually felt underwhelmed. I said, we waited all week for this. And Punk traveled all the way to Italy. He was going to confront Roman. And I feel like knowing what Punk can deliver on the microphone and knowing we don't get to see or hear from Roman Reigns very often, this was a letdown. I was hoping for more from these guys. And now we have, 4 weeks left, so there is still time between now and WrestleMania. Perhaps that will come. But it was not enough for me anyway, to say what otherwise I thought was a very boring show. We have Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. They were on the show as well. Their match is now official for WrestleMania. So they're going to be going one-on-one. It's all about the punt kick. It's all being built around him kicking Owens' head in, hitting his skull in with that kick. They set up a United States Championship match for LA Knight and Braun Strowman for next week's show. More tension between Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa as well. We'll talk about that situation. And Naomi got a dose of revenge on Jade Cargill for all the attacks that we've seen. Naomi has been laid out multiple times now on TV. She finally got a dose of revenge on this woman. And Jade Cargill tonight lost her very first singles match in her WWE run, thanks to interference from Naomi. I said this on Twitter earlier when the show was over, because it's the first thing that it made me think of. And I generally, I don't like making comparisons so much, WWE, AEW, when it comes show to show, because they're so different. But it's the first thing I thought of when the show was over. Last week's Dynamite was not a good show.
This week was better. Last week's show was not good. I'm sorry. And people who felt otherwise, the critique or the reaction to what I said was, yeah, but they established some new directions coming out of Revolution and they progressed stories. So, like, you could see where they're going with certain people and they took baby steps, but they were at least furthering stories. And that's true. That is something that they did. You can't say they didn't do that on the show last week. But it doesn't change the fact that when the show was over, I didn't think it was all that exciting or fun. I thought it was a bad show. Both of those things can be true. You can have segments or matches on the show that will further stories and directions for pay-per-views, but when the show was over 2 hours later or 3 hours later, you could say, you know what, though? All that being said, I thought this show sucked. Both of those things can be true, and that's how I felt about this show. Did they move certain things along for WrestleMania and some of the key matches of WrestleMania? Yes. Was there anything on this show that particularly moved me or that I found really, really fun? No. No, I did not. And we could wax all day long about the 3-hour format. That doesn't help the show at all. The 3-hour format is actively killing this show. It is killing this show.
Yeah. SmackDown had no business being 3 hours. It needed to go back to 2 hours. 2 hours is much better. I think it's way too long, very filler, and the throwaway matches on this show. For what? Just have it be 2 hours. It's much easier. The only thing that mattered was the ending with Punk, Roman, and Seth. That was it. Even that was a little bit kind of let down, but that was the only thing that we cared about on this show. Everything else was like filler garbage. And as I said earlier, Cody Rhodes is not there. He's gonna be on Raw.
And we just have to tolerate it for however many more months, May, June, whatever it's going to be, and the show will revert back to 2 hours. But I also don't want to make it sound like, well, if the show was 2 hours, it would be so great. No, it wouldn't. It'd be a little bit more manageable, and it would change the way that they format the show because they would have an hour less. But that in and of itself doesn't mean that, oh, SmackDown would be great. SmackDown would be fire just because it's 2 hours. SmackDown has a problem right now. 3 hours is one of the problems. But there's more of an overall problem creatively with SmackDown right now. That 3 hours, you cannot ascribe all of the blame to 3 hours. It just consistently ends up being the worst show of the week. There are weeks where there may be exceptions. But what was once, at one time last year, believe it or not, it's hard to believe that this show, there were weeks where SmackDown would sometimes be the best show all week compared to Raw or NXT or AEW. I watch a lot of these shows because it's part of my job here. But as a wrestling fan, I would be watching these shows. And so week to week, while there may be some exceptions, you could kind of tell when Raw is on a roll. Dynamite went on a roll for a little while there, not that long ago. And there was a time where SmackDown was killing it. Not anymore. And I just hope they can find their way. I don't know. I don't know. This WrestleMania build is lacking right now. It really it doesn't feel like we are only 4 weeks away from WrestleMania. Maybe when we're 2 weeks away from WrestleMania, it'll hit me. Something like, something flips, like a switch gets flipped. But there are a lot of people right now who I think feel the same way, where it's just very lackluster. It's just that excitement that may have been there a year ago isn't there right now. And I feel it. I was watching this show tonight feeling the same way as they were building some of these key matches. That spark is missing. And I really hope they can find that in these next few weeks. We're going to go through this entire show, though, and talk about it from start to finish. There was stuff I liked. There was stuff I didn't like. Let's talk about it. This is your SmackDown review. It is Friday, March 21st, 2025. I am the Solid Monster, and we obviously are still dealing with these international shows because I'm on here. It's not even 8:45. I like it. I think it's great. I got my VPN fired up. I watched SmackDown earlier, had some dinner, and we come on the air live here. We don't have to wait until 11:30 at night. It's great. We have I think a couple more weeks maybe of this. Actually, maybe one more week because they're in London next week, and then I think they're back to the States. So, actually, I wish we had 2 weeks left. Posing on the ropes. His entire entrance lasted, it was more than 5 minutes. And he couldn't even get a single word out before he was interrupted by Kevin Owens. And he goes, there was a point many months ago where the two of them were this close to winning the tag team titles, but they let stuff get between them. But at WrestleMania, let's go for the tag team titles. And the fans were chanting no, and he told them to, told all the fans, shut your stupid faces. So finally, Orton speaks. And he says, what I should do right now is run down that aisle and beat your ass all over this damn arena. But what you said was intriguing. Says, I've never heard Kevin Owens admit that my swing was in full effect. You can't see it. You can't see the golf pants I'm wearing right now. It's a good thing you can only see me from the chest up. You wish you had a golf game like I do. Says, Owens used to be all about fight, Owens, fight, but now you're all bitch, Owens, bitch. You said you shouldn't have dropped me on my head. I'm glad you dropped me on my head. Almost gave it to us at Elimination Chamber and the fans in Toronto. Remember when all the agents dove into the ring to protect us? There's a reason why I never talked about that report or reported on it on my podcast, because it was bullshit. Nakamura isn't going anywhere. Nakamura is probably a WWE lifer, okay, at this point. Anybody who has these images in their head that he's going to go back and, one day he'll be back in New Japan to be the old Shinsuke Nakamura, don't hold your breath. As far as this match here, this was very standard stuff. Priest hit the South of Heaven chokeslam to Nakamura. He pinned him to win it for the babyfaces. McIntyre attacked Priest when the match was over. He mounted him, said that he was going to come for Priest whenever he sees him. Priest reached up, he choked McIntyre, who broke free, and he continued to work him over. The McIntyre stood up, hit Priest with a Claymore kick, and then he kind of hovered over him and told him that whenever you get up, I'm going to put you right back down. That match has not been made official yet, but that is another WrestleMania match, clearly, that any week now they're going to make official. Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre. I don't know if it'll have any stipulation attached to it or not, but that is the direction for both of those men. So again, very, very standard fare here. Not really all that different from what we saw last week on the show. In the back, Braun Strowman, he was getting his pump on. He was getting ready for his match coming up a little bit later with Jacob Fatu. He was warming up when LA Knight walked up to him, told him that he hopes he smacks Fatu back to factory settings, but also said Fatu's crew has strength in numbers, so Strowman needs to watch his back. And he went to go leave. Strowman stopped him and said, Nick Aldis said that whoever wins this match tonight with me and Jacob is basically the #1 contender for the United States Championships. When I beat Jacob, I'm coming for you and I'm coming for that time. And I like that because right away it tells you that, heading into this match, which is, what was it, the fourth time now that we're seeing these two matched up, there's at least something on the line. It's a match that actually has stakes because the winner is getting a title match next week in London on Smackdown. So I like that they established that. And then after a commercial break, we got a split screen interview with the WWE Women's Champion Tiffany Stratton and her winner of the Royal Rumble, Charlotte Flair. Their match is official. I think their match was the first one made official for, first or second one made official for WrestleMania. I guess it was Jane Gunther, that was the first one. Joe Tessitore asked Tiffany a question first, and she started to answer when Charlotte, that takes talent. I said, I hope that this woman is not trained to, I hope she is trained to handle a firearm, because I certainly wouldn't want to be around if Tiffany Stratton had a firearm in her hand. Do a backflip, thinks that she can compare herself to her. Doesn't bow to Charlotte anymore. They run on Tiffy time. Dose of realism to a segment that so often we have segments that they follow a certain pattern, right? They follow a certain formula. You speak, you be quiet. When you're done, this person speaks. And if this was a real life argument between two people, what would happen? Watch any reality show. What do you think happens? People talk over each other all the time. That's what happens. So I liked it. It was kind of a minor thing. I minded it so much. It was very annoying, but it made it a little more genuine in that regard. Charlotte, and I guess this is to her credit,
I think
because
people are
she's
sick
the
and
heel
tired of
in
this
this situation, but she is completely
It's embarrassing.
unlikable.
It's embarrassing.
As a television character, she is complete. After the break, Fatu went to ringside. Strowman followed, and this time it was all aboard. All aboard, everybody. It doesn't matter if we're in Barcelona. It doesn't matter if we're in Bologna. It'll be the same thing next week, I'm sure, in London. The Strowman Express. It doesn't matter. You can put a body of water from one country to the other. There's a huge body of water in between. Doesn't matter. Underground, above ground. The train never stops. The train makes all of its stops. And so it was no different here on SmackDown. And he knocked Fatu clear over the announce desk. Strowman threw Fatu back inside. And he was getting the better of Fatu and Solo until Tama hit him from behind. Strowman recovered. He joined LA Knight in clearing the heels from the ring. Alicia Taylor announced that Strowman was the winner via disqualification. And Knight exchanged words with Strowman. Strowman was eyeing the U.S. title. And Joe Tessitore on commentary, he hyped up their championship match coming up next week. We have hit the end of the road, I'm sorry, for Jacob Fatu and Braun Strowman. I remember the first time they matched these two guys up. I don't remember exactly if it was Saturday night's main event or I think it was. I know they wrestled on that Saturday night's main event in January. I just can't remember if that was their first or second match, but we've had, I think, 3 of them at this point. And whatever excitement there was for that initial match between them has, for me anyway, it has worn off at this point. They've run it enough times. So next week, it's going to be Strowman getting the shot. Now, in the back later, they showed Fatu, and Jacob was on the warpath. He was not happy about the result of that match. Solo was trying to explain to him, we're just trying to help. And Fatu didn't want to hear it. He warned him to butt out when he takes care of his. He wants Solo to butt out. And he walked away. The finish was lame. What it does, it builds more tension, which they've been doing off and on now for weeks. Really, since Solo came back after the Royal Rumble, continues to build that much more tension in the bloodline between Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa. As far as next week's match is concerned, we're not going to get a title change. I think it's safe to say that we will have some bloodline interference in that match. Probably another bullshit finish next week. And I still say we're getting a multi-man match for the U.S. title of WrestleMania. I said last week that I thought it was going to be LA Knight, Jimmy Uso, and Jacob Fatu. That was my sense of things based off of what we saw coming out of last week's show. Jimmy had no involvement whatsoever here on this show with any of these people. You know, he came out a couple weeks ago and he told LA Knight, "I'm desperate. You know, I want to start my road to WrestleMania. I want to challenge you for the U.S. title." He was in that match earlier, had nothing to do with any of this. And so now I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, it's a 3-way or a 4-way. LA Knight defending his championship. Let's assume we get no real winner next week. LA Knight, Braun Strowman, Jacob Fatu, or 4-way, and you can work Solo Sikoa into the match. That's what I think we're getting. I think we're headed towards that. If Solo isn't officially in the match, if maybe he's only, he comes out to assist Jacob, I think you get something very similar to what we got here, where he accidentally hits him or something. We're going to get Jacob and Solo, if not at WrestleMania, then at Backlash. And that's the only thing I'm not sure of. Because they don't have to do it at WrestleMania. You do have Backlash 3 weeks after that. You could certainly have Jacob in a title match and have Solo, inadvertently cost him the match. And then we get the singles match at the next show. But that's where I think we're headed. Jimmy Uso, what his role is at WrestleMania? If he's not involved in any of this stuff, I have no idea. He's McIntyre, he's occupied. Right? He's going to be wrestling Damian Priest. Where else would you plug Jimmy in? If not in the U.S. title, right? He has no obvious role on that show. I would be very surprised if he's just off the show entirely. But right now, outside of this, I really don't know what else to plug him into.
Why Solomon?
monster, a Punk hater. Why does he hate Punk so much? I love it. I would almost bring the Strowman Express back out, but now it's out of. And Raquel Rodriguez and wanted to know what.
All right, hold on. I'm gonna show you guys the other podcast. Hold on, just 1 second here.
Does anyone have
On March 28th.
And what the hell?
Google Steel Tracksuit in incognito mode. Use DuckDuckGo, a real private browser.
Very much over the break. Fatu had control. Strowman goes for a 2 count. Fatu hit a hip.
Alright, so oh, actually, wait a minute, hold on.
Strowman landed a series of strikes and clotheslines. Fatu slid out of the ring and Strowman hit the Strowman Express on the outside. Strowman rolled Fatu.
Alright, so I'm gonna show y'all JD from New York. He's gonna give his thoughts and opinions, his review on Smackdown. He said that this WrestleMania season sucked. And I agree with that. There's only a couple of matches that I'm looking forward to. Everything else seemed like an afterthought.
I watched. And around the time Zelina Vega and Piper Niven were cosplaying a Will Ospreay Okada match for 15 minutes tonight, that's when I said, you know what? I'm tapping out. I can't take it anymore. I don't know what happened. I don't know what went wrong. I don't know what the. But I think it's time we have a hard look, honest discussion about WrestleMania season. I have been very vocal about waiting and let's see how things materialize. They got an extra 3 weeks of television this WrestleMania season. WrestleMania is happening Easter Sunday. I can't remember the last time we had a WrestleMania that took this April time frame and pushed it to the end of the month. Usually WrestleMania is sometimes the end of April or the end of March, rather, at the beginning of April, never at the end of April. It's a rarity. January 6th rolled around. Triple H, he holds a big meet and greet with fans in Stamford, Connecticut, at the WWE headquarters. CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Gunther, Logan Paul, Kevin Owens, Michael Cole, they're all there. Nick Khan, they're all there. He hypes up that January 6th on Netflix. Everything's going to change. The game has changed. We get the meet and greet before the January 6th show. WrestleMania. We didn't get anything. There was nothing more than one big infomercial with WWE trying to sell The Rock, Hulk Hogan, The Undertaker to a brand new audience. Instead of actually going out there and giving us the official start. That's where things also really started to carve out the road to WrestleMania. We got a great Royal Rumble. I thought they were very good in both the men and the women's Royal Rumble. I thought what we got was good stuff. We got Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens, great ladder match. All in all, it was a great Royal Rumble. Then we go and we are waiting to get to the chamber, and things also ebb and flow, man. We go up and then we go down. We go up and then we go down. We get to the Elimination Chamber. Elimination Chamber is one of the best WWE pay-per-views that they maybe have ever done. Everybody was excited. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Cody Rhodes asked to give up his soul to The Rock. John Cena's heel turn. Two great chambers. Jade Cargill attacks Naomi. John Cena wins his chamber, turns on Cody. Punk and Rollins and that dynamic. We got a lot of questions answered at the Elimination Chamber, with more questions that came out of that show, getting everybody excited for WrestleMania season. And now, coming out of the chamber, I'm left asking, what are we doing and where are we going? Like, I get the whole Cody and John Cena dynamic. I get John Cena and chasing number 17, turning heel. He had a great promo on Monday. I can't wait to see where they go next. Like, I'm genuinely excited about where they're going. I wasn't sold on that main event, but now I am. Simply with the flip of a switch, Cena turning heel has made my outlook on the entire match a lot different than it was before the heel turn. I can't sit here and tell you that WWE television outside of John Cena and Cody Rhodes is exciting. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. Not like I was pretending before. We were all waiting. We're all waiting to see what happens. What exactly about this WrestleMania season has people excited? Like, legitimately, what are you excited about? Like, are you excited to be spending what it would cost to put a fucking down payment on a house to go watch WrestleMania in Las Vegas? A WrestleMania, by the way, that is nowhere near selling out like it was in Philadelphia. They have 20,000 less people as of today. Tickets sold. 20,000 less tickets in Las Vegas than they did in Philadelphia at Lincoln Financial. Who's paying these prices to go watch what obviously is subpar television? What happened to the creative vision? What happened to the storytelling? I feel like going into last year's WrestleMania, there was just a feel in the air, a magical feeling in the air, spearheaded by an incredible story at the top, a main event on night one that really changed the entire outlook of what night two felt like. We had Damian Priest in the Money in the Bank cash in. We had CM Punk injured and him even still injured playing a huge pivotal role in the show. Gunther and Sami Zayn. Where is the magic for WrestleMania that we got last year? Up and down this card, I'm not feeling it. I don't know where that magic is coming from. We can't blame it on The Rock anymore. We can't blame it on Dwayne being absent anymore. Now we need to have a cold, hard discussion about WWE potentially losing the trust of the fan, thinking who they are, charging exorbitant amounts of money to be in attendance for what is a very mediocre spectacle and a very mediocre WrestleMania build. I felt like I was watching more theme musics and sing-alongs and long-winded entrances than I did story. Emotional storytelling. You have a 3-hour show tonight on Friday night, and I take nothing away from this that gets me excited about WrestleMania. A show that included Seth Rollins, CM Punk, and Roman Reigns in the main event of the show. which, by the way, Rollins and Punk are two Raw superstars. Oh, JD, SmackDown wasn't bad. I don't give a fuck what you say. SmackDown was terrible. SmackDown was so terrible that you had two Monday Night Raw guys, one being one of the biggest stars in the history of the business, in CM Punk. Not even he was able to save this show. And Punk has done no wrong. Punk has done no wrong since being back. Not even he could have saved this show. What exactly are we doing? What exactly are we doing? Is Triple H getting burned out? Does Triple H's creativity hit a fucking brick wall? I refuse to believe that this late into the WrestleMania build, this is the best that they're giving us. Because it certainly doesn't feel like the same Triple H that we got last year. Unless he's just throwing his hands in the air and relying on CM Punk and Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes and John Cena to really carry the load here and then give us some sleeper fucking hit when we get to April 19, April 20. But all people will remember is how bad it was leading up to WrestleMania, no matter how good the show is. You cannot treat your fans and string them along by this mediocre garbage that you're giving us, only to give us a banger WrestleMania on night 1 and night 2, to then only turn around and do it all over again and give us mediocre television. It doesn't work that way. This is the same thing that AEW does, and I shit on them for it every single week. They don't give a fuck about weekly television. They don't. It's a fucking circus. It's run by some goofy fucking hack who doesn't care about long-term storytelling and long-term emotional storytelling vision. He's got no vision. Everything that we are complaining about is justified. You look up and down this show for 3 hours. Exactly what are you excited about? This is their B show. This is their other show outside Raw, which is 2.5 hours every Monday. You have 3 hours of weekly television on Friday, and you have done nothing for WrestleMania build through the SmackDown door. It's almost as if WWE can't be bothered to book a good SmackDown, and they don't give a shit to book a good SmackDown. They don't. I don't know how you have this roster and you cannot create captivating, emotional storytelling. CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins were on the show tonight, and all I got out of that closing segment was Roman Reigns was pissed at CM Punk for eliminating him in the Royal Rumble. That's what he's upset about. Roman Reigns is upset that CM Punk eliminated him in an over-the-top rope, every man for himself Royal Rumble. Is that what we're going with? He's not mad at CM Punk for any other reason. He's not mad for any other reason. He's mad because he got eliminated by Punk in the Royal Rumble. Who wrote that, and why would I be emotionally moved by such a statement? Are you moved by that statement? I know I'm not. How could you be? It's as if it was written by a fucking 5-year-old. Roman Reigns is upset because CM Punk eliminated him from the Royal Rumble. Wow, man. Let me give you my heart and soul, man. I'm so fucking emotionally attached to WrestleMania season, man. That's going to make a great main event. Seth Rollins is out there, and all I got from Seth Rollins to Roman Reigns is that every time that they are in the ring together, they need to finish what they started. I don't exist without you, and you don't exist without me. That's all they said. That is all Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins said to one another. That is it. I don't know how you're emotionally moved by that when neither Roman Reigns or Seth Rollins gave you any reason to fucking care about the statement that Seth Rollins said to Roman Reigns. Without you, I don't exist. Without me, you don't exist. Would you care to elaborate on that? What exactly do you mean? Let's dive into the fucking history of the Shield. Why are you upset? Not one instance in anything that Rollins said gave you a proper explanation as to why he is upset with Roman Reigns. And then CM Punk is just there basically telling Roman that he's a fucking idiot in oh so many words. And that the only reason why he's here is because of Paul Heyman. We'll get to the favor a little bit later, he says. Why don't you tell me what the favor is now, being that you've been sitting on it since November? You wouldn't even be in the position that you're in right now in this ring if it wasn't for me at War Games. Do you care to elaborate on that? Or are we just going to write these basic fucking first grader sentences, make them sound cool, and develop a WrestleMania feud that right now feels incredibly fucking forced? You got three of the biggest names in the WWE right now. CM Punk, who's probably the biggest name in the fucking sport right now. Roman Reigns, who is one of the biggest entities in the history of the business. And Seth Rollins, who's one of the faces of the company. You have them in a triple threat match. And it doesn't even feel genuine with 3 weeks left to go after tonight. Yet you want me to sit there and say everything is all right. And what did it devolve into tonight, folks? What did this main event segment devolve into? No emotional storytelling, no explanation on why they were there. They flew halfway across the fucking world to throw and hurl first-grade insults at each other. If you want to call them insults, first-grade explanations at each other, to then all point at the WrestleMania sign without giving away the fact that it's a triple threat match, which then led to a 3-man brawl with Nick Aldis out there and officials and referees to pull everybody apart. That's WWE's motto this WrestleMania season. Let's throw everybody out there and give them a big Pier 6 brawl. I'm sorry, folks, if I'm not emotionally attached to what WWE is doing right now, but that shit reeks of fucking basement-dwelling, bottom-of-the-barrel garbage. It doesn't stop there. Look at the other World Championship match that you got. Gunther and Jey Uso. Inexcusable. It's fucking inexcusable. Gunther is one of the greatest champions in the history of this company. The man has brought prestige to the NXT UK Championship, to the NXT Championship, to the Intercontinental Championship. I don't understand how Jey Uso wins the Royal Rumble. And for 6 straight weeks, we get Jey Uso wrestling A-Town Down Under. We have Gunther wrestling Alpha Academy. Jey Uso finding solace and friendship in Akira Tozawa and Otis. All the while, we got the same segment week after week after week after week after week, which usually results in yeet, super kick, match. Gunther shows up, chokes Jey Uso out, leaves him laying in the ring, on to the next week. Just repeat that same thing 5 straight weeks, 6 straight weeks, and you've got your WrestleMania build. Who the fuck thinks that this is the right way to go about booking a WrestleMania caliber main event for the World Heavyweight Championship?
Honestly, I don't think it's the main event. based on the lack of build, lack of storytelling, I don't think it's the main event. As a matter of fact, I don't think Jey Uso's win the title. That could make me more pissed. Why the fuck you give him the Rumble if he's not gonna win the world title? Was it just for shock value and for a proper big waiting? You know, it was someone new and no one expected Jay to win it. I didn't even think Jay's even won the title. You keep doing the same old shit. Do something to get us hyped up in this match. And I don't think the match is main event. I did think Rollins, Reigns, and Punk's main event. I hope that the favor, Paul Heyman gonna lobby CM Punk to be in the main event.
Not only are you making Jey Uso look like a regrettable Royal Rumble winner, but you are doing no favors to Gunther and his World Heavyweight Championship run.
And the guy been phenomenal. The guy been great. Just based on massive with Priest, with Orton, Sammy, and Balor. Man, we had Jay at Saturday night main event. And this is what he's doing with Gunther.
To a point right now where I'm even questioning if Jey Uso should even win the fucking World Championship. That's where we are right now. That's where we are. Cody Rhodes and John Cena are legitimately, and not because of story, it's because of one moment that's carrying this fucking main event for WrestleMania 41. John Cena's heel turn is legitimately carrying this fucking show on April 19th and April 20th, and there's nothing else on this show that is even remotely WrestleMania worthy. Tell me when I am telling lies. I don't get it. John Cena's missed 2 weeks. He showed up on Monday. Cody's gone out there and cut the same promo 3 fucking times. John Cena cut a great promo on Monday. We'll let it play out. He's going to be on the next 2 Mondays. We'll see what his explanation is in the follow-up. Outside that, ask yourself, what else are you genuinely excited about for WrestleMania? If you tell me the women, Braun Breaker, Chad Gable, you are faking excitement. You are faking excitement. And then you take that fake excitement, and then you look at people like me who are a little bit too real and upfront and honest with you, telling you exactly what the fuck is going on, and then you project your disappointment and your anger on someone like me who's simply expressing his fucking opinion. You see, the thing is, with someone like me in this space, you're not going to get this type of opinion from the other content creators because they're A, too pussy to say anything, and they don't want to ruffle any feathers, or B, they're looking for the next opportunity to get ahead for themselves while maintaining a fakeness about them. Fake gets you ahead. We don't do that here. You want the upfront, honest view of what's going on? This is it. This is it. 4 weeks left to go, and there's legitimately nothing on this WrestleMania card that speaks to you whatsoever. And if it does, you're lying. You are absolutely lying to yourself, trying to convince yourself that everything is all right, and it's not. And you make yourself look as bad as the AEW fan base, thinking that everything is all right on their end. And it's not. And it's not. Tag team situation on Monday night is garbage. Tag team title situation on Friday is garbage. I don't know what the fuck is going on. I don't know what's going on. DIY, Motor City Machine Guns, the Profits, who are probably the best looking tag team in the company right now, just with a simple flip of a switch. Pretty Deadly, Los Garza. I mean, what are we doing here, bro? What are we doing?
These tag teams are irrelevant. There's no story. There's hardly any heat. I don't think these titles are going to be defended at WrestleMania. Same thing with the teams on Raw. The War Raiders haven't done shit with the title. That they haven't defended them. That they have known a feud with. They weren't on TV this week. So what the hell are we doing with those titles? They shouldn't be on WrestleMania. There's no reason to.
How are you invested in any of this? Jimmy Uso, LA Knight, Jacob Fatu, Braun Strowman. This is what you call storytelling going into WrestleMania for the United States Championship.
There is no goddamn storytelling. I'm very confused. We don't know if LA Knight can defend it or not. If it's gonna be 1-on-1, it could be a triple threat or if it's a 4-way. Why do we need another multi-man match? It's WWE being so fucking lazy.
You opted to stop telling the Solo and Jacob Fatu storyline to include them in the United States Championship title picture where they don't really belong right now. It's all about Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa. Yet the view that I get is that everybody's going to be lumped into a United States Championship multi-man match, and it's unavoidable at this point. That is fucking lazy. That is lazy. You have two mid-card women's championships that couldn't be more worthless. You could not make them any more worthless than they are right now.
Chelsea Green ain't doing shit with it. Lyra Valkyria, she's not doing shit with her title. And they aren't going to be on WrestleMania. They're not going to defend it on WrestleMania. They have no big feud. They haven't defended the title that much. Well, I mean, Chelsea has. She's defending it on NXT, but who gives a shit? She's not in a big feud. She's not doing anything with it. Lyra hasn't done shit with it. So you might as well take it off from them.
Chelsea Green's title is a complete fucking waste of time.
Exactly. Exactly.
Lyra Valkyria has not done a single fucking thing to enhance the look or the prestige or the feel of the Intercontinental Championship. Whose fault is that?
Is that creative? Is that Paul Levette's fault? Is that Triple H? Is that Nick Khan, the Bruce Prichard? And is that creative? Is that their fault? You might as well take it off for Lyra. And give it to... Oh, I don't know who can win. I don't want to give a shit. Why don't you bring back Becky? Have her be champion or something. I don't know.
Whose fault is that? Triple H's fault.
Yeah.
Whose fault is it that Chelsea Green's title reign is fucking piss poor? Triple H's fault.
I don't know why we have mid-card titles. We still have the women's tag team title. Why can't we get rid of those? There's no division. There never was a division. The titles are worthless. These mid-card titles are worse than the women's tag team titles. I don't know why they're doing the company. Why can't we deactivate them? Or have them go on NXT and stay there permanently? Why not deactivate the women's tag team titles? Because you have two mid-card titles. They are worthless and shit. To a point where you might as well get rid of it. There is no reason for two mid-card titles. First of all, as long as we have the tag team title for the woman, we should only have one mid-card title. And that's it.
I don't know why you think we need 4 weeks from WrestleMania, Zelina Vega and Piper Niven wrestling a 15-minute fucking match with 2 wardrobe malfunctions tonight. 15-minute match 4 weeks before WrestleMania. Who the fuck cares about Zelina Vega?
Exactly. She's not over. I don't think she's in LWO anymore. She's not doing anything with Rey Mysterio and the LWO. She's a waste. No one cares. Piper Niven, who gives a shit? She's a very good wrestler, but who wants to see that?
And why is she in a match on Smackdown wrestling Piper Niven for 15 minutes as if she's Will Ospreay wrestling Okada? I don't get it. Who asked for this?
No one.
Who asked for any of this?
No one.
Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair. I'm still trying to figure out where I am supposed to emotionally invest my time into this story.
There is none.
You gave Charlotte Flair the Royal Rumble. Mistake number 1. You got Charlotte Flair coming out week after week after week after week. Big leaguing Tiffany Stratton. Mistake number 2. And then you realize that it may not be working and that the fans aren't invested the way that they should be, or you think that they should be invested. And now you turn it up a bit. And now what results in your bad decisions, you try and fix it by giving us some forced brawl, pull apart brawl, and start to create some fake tension between Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair. All the while, the interest has gone out the fucking window for the Women's Championship match that people predicted since November. Why are people down on the Tiffany Stratton-Charlotte Flair match? Because everybody automatically sees Charlotte Flair becoming the Women's Champion at WrestleMania. Man, I can't wait for you guys to make that bad decision and see that one blow up in your fucking face.
Yeah, let's bury Tiffany. You know Charlotte's gonna win the belt. I think she will be champion. She might win it at WrestleMania or maybe at Backlash. I think the feud is gonna continue. We might get a shit match. It's already a shit feud. We'll get a shit match and a fuck finish. There's no way this is gonna end clean. You know Charlotte's gonna be champion. I can't wait until play Hopper holds the title. You want to see them trade title back and forth? Oh, that disaster is gonna be awful. I think Tiffany Stratton is a transitional champion because most of the castings have been a transitional champion. Most of them have, well, except for Io Sky, but most of the Money Make winners have been a transitional champion. I'm afraid Charlotte's gonna win here. I don't see a clean finish with Charlotte and Tiffany. I think they're gonna be a fuck finish that's gonna continue this feud, and Charlotte is going to win the belt. I actually think that's gonna happen.
Bianca Belair, Io Sky, and Rhea Ripley. Sure, I love all three women. Should be a great match. It's one of the few things on this entire fucking program that actually has some sense to it. Some layers to it. I can't even shit on it because I'm actually intrigued by what these three women are doing at WrestleMania, as I am also a fan of all three women. Braun Breaker's Intercontinental title run. Where the fuck did we go? After he won it back, he's done absolutely nothing with it. Nothing.
Exactly. He's been irrelevant to where you might as well just take it off of Braun Breaker, put it on Penta. Cause Lee Penta is doing something. He getting over. He winning matches. He had a decent match with Ludwig Kaiser. Crowd loves him. It has to be Penta and Braun Breaker, and I think Penta's the win. And Braun Breaker can move up to the world title picture. Actually, you know what? If Jay doesn't win the world title and Gunther somehow retain, we can do Braun Breaker and Gunther. Braun Breaker can win King of the Ring and beat Gunther at SummerSlam. That's what I'm booking. I actually love that. But Jesus Christ, man. Braun Breaker at champion had run it, of course. He hadn't done anything besides wrestle Sheamus.
After he beat Sheamus, there was zero plan
Exactly.
for Braun Breaker and the Intercontinental Championship. But then you'll get the WWE apologist telling me to be patient. Has WWE made Braun Breaker look good in the build up to WrestleMania? You don't even realize he's on the fucking show half the time.
Yeah, because he's been an afterthought. He's been irrelevant. No one talking about Braun Breaker. I was actually confused. Like, who was he going to face? Finn Balor, AJ Styles, Dominic? He was involved with the Judgment Day for a bit. Now he's dead teeth and Penta. Braun Breaker had to drop that title immediately. And he needs to be in the world title scene. I'm booking him to win King of the Ring. Have him be the world champion. That's what I'm doing. Because the IC title waiting for him had run its course. We've seen enough of Braun Breaker in the mid-card.
Now all of a sudden they want to put Penta in the Intercontinental title picture. What's the story?
There is none.
It's just a match. It's a match without a story. It's basically Triple H taking a page out of Tony Khan's playbook. Guy wins match, guy gets title shot. Nobody gives a fuck.
That's just lazy. Or maybe because, well, they have no one for Braun Breaker. and they want him to defend the title at WrestleMania.
Yet you are asking me to care because these characters are more characters than the ones that we see on AEW. But the premise remains. The underlying problem remains. There's no story. It's just there. It exists. Two guys are in a fucking spot for the sake of filling a match on a WrestleMania card. That doesn't speak to me. It doesn't get me to jump out of my seat and fucking say, man, I can't wait to watch this.
And they've been losing every week. The more you keep doing that, now it's defending the title. So you might have to
You need to understand that this shit goes beyond great wrestling and people who could fucking book great matches. It doesn't work that way. I myself, as a fan, am getting fucking to a point where I genuinely don't give a shit about anything that happens on television. And then people sit there and misconstrue my frustrations with hatred. I'm sure I got some WWE apologists right now. I even got some AEW fans right now who will turn this around and make it negative because I'm on Triple H's payroll. Look! JD's off the payroll. The check might have bounced. Meanwhile, the frustrations are being felt all throughout the entire community. It's not about what company is doing what and what company is doing it better. They both fucking suck. Both AEW and WWE fucking suck. WWE is only slightly better because of the overwhelming production and the vibe that they give off. But I am genuinely losing my fucking patience with the amount of people that show up to these fucking shows and we gotta sit there and watch fucking 50-minute introductions and fucking sing-alongs. Bro, just give me a fucking story written by a creative writer that knows how to tell captivating story from a week-to-week basis. It's all I want.
Exactly.
It's all I want.
Me too.
I am tired of random matches happening for the sake of happening. I am tired of these fucking billionaire fucking cocksuckers who go out there and want to book matches just to say that they've done it. I'm tired. I'm tired. You are doing no better than what Vince McMahon did.
And Vince McMahon did was awful. I mean, go back to WrestleMania 39. No, go back to WrestleMania 38. I mean, over 100 people got fired. You want to be so lazy? It just add people on WrestleMania without no story. Yeah, just book part-timers and veteran, book celebrity matches. You want to fire more than 100 people. You want to book rematches every week and same old shit. Luckily, WrestleMania 38 was a great WrestleMania, but the build-up was terrible. It was just lazy.
WrestleMania 41 does not feel like WrestleMania 40. WrestleMania 41 does not feel like WrestleMania 39.
Exactly.
I don't know what the fuck went wrong. I don't know who's saying what. I don't know who's doing what. Something is not right. Something is not right. And as usual, people will point me as negative, and people there will point to us that we don't know anything. Bro, your show sucks. It fucking sucks.
It does.
Both this show and Dynamite fucking suck. I'm sorry. I cannot sit here and say I am intrigued by great wrestling matches only. I can't sit here and say that anymore. Both companies, they could shit out great matches. Shit out great matches. If there is no story, there is nothing. Nothing. You want great pro wrestling? Go watch New Japan. Go watch some fucking rinky-dink promotion overseas. Us here in America, we want story. There's a reason why they say this is a soap opera for men. I'm not getting any soap opera vibes here. I'm getting a bunch of fucking people with hours across weekly television that don't know what the fuck they're doing. That's the vibe I get. Genuinely. I don't know what this WrestleMania card looked like back in November. I don't know where we went wrong. But this WrestleMania right now is as underwhelming and disappointing so far, with 4 weeks left to go, than I could ever remember. And WWE has now settled into a role where they feel like they can do no wrong. They feel like they can do no wrong. A lot of people sit here and do what I do. Some are afraid to say what needs to be said. Some are not afraid to say what they are really feeling. I am one of those people. A lot of people in the industry look down on people like me and the tail bar, and I see someone making my old fact. I'm not a creative writer. I'm not in the business. These fucking people who clearly don't give a shit about their fan bases. And when someone like me calls it out, I'm tired of listening to these people. Oh, it's WWE, it's WrestleMania. Be patient. They can do no wrong. This and that. WWE has gotten complacent. They have gotten way too comfortable. Way too comfortable. And it's the ambiance, it's the environment, it's the moments, it's the spectacle, it's the aura that you're paying for. Meanwhile, number 8, another fucking Saturday Night's Main Event on the 25th, right before the Royal Rumble. All of these shows came off as feeling hollow and empty, void of any emotion. And then what are we going to do when we get out of WrestleMania? We're going to go right back into the fucking 4 or 5 match outline, backlash. WWE is going to fucking sell $1,500 tickets for nosebleeds to go see Backlash in St. Louis, only then turn around and go to Saudi Arabia and give us another empty, hollow, void of any emotion show. And then we'll get to Money in the Bank, and things will be exciting again, and then things will be fucking dead again. Then we'll get SummerSlam, and things will be dead again. Back to Saudi, things will be dead again. Survive. It's like, bro, I'm not expecting every show to be a fucking, oh my God, 10 out of 10. Which right now, WrestleMania is not doing a good job of our show. Same thing happens on Dynamite. I'm not excusing them because WWE shit in the bed. They're just as fucking bad. They are just as fucking bad. Said what I said on Wednesday night because the fucking show is a circus. Yeah, let's take Jon Moxley and slam him on top of fucking railroad spikes so it's picked up by everywhere and every fucking outlet, and then we'll show them, look, people are talking about us. Meanwhile, you are nothing more than an indie-rific, fucking disgusting, bottom of the barrel, fucking indie fed with a multi-billionaire running a fucking matchmaking show with dream matches that mean nothing. Nothing. But look, people talking about us because Moxley got slammed on railroad spikes. All that tells me is that you're allergic to telling storytelling or stories, and the only way you get a reaction is by fucking self-mutilation. Yeah, that's really great. WWE's the opposite. I don't know which one is worse. One doesn't tell stories because they'd rather self-mutilate their fucking talent and get a reaction. And WWE doesn't tell any fucking stories because they're charging fucking half of a lung to go sit in the audience just to fucking throw your hands in the air. Which is worse? What is WrestleMania's card? Can anyone come up with the WrestleMania card and tell me where the emotion is?
There is none.
Can you point me in the direction of storytelling and emotion here? I'm struggling to find it. The three guys that you have to tell story tonight in the main event did not. How am I supposed to look at this? How am I supposed to look at this tonight in a way that's positive? I can't. Shit is fucking terrible. Every bit of this show was terrible. 3 hours wasted. $12.99 to buy. Thank God it's a 7-day free trial. $12.99 for a VPN for the rest of the fucking month to watch this subpar garbage 5 hours earlier. And this is the show that we get. I don't even want to know the ticket prices in Bologna, Italy tonight to sit there and watch Zelina Vega and Piper Niven go 15 minutes as if fucking Zelina Vega channeled Okada. Who asked for that?
No one.
Who desires to see?
No one cared about that.
What is WrestleMania's card? Does anybody? Can anybody tell me?
I don't even know, to be honest.
Randy Orton, Kevin Owens? Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I'm interested in that because that's been built. I mean, Orton's been built up. He's been off television, but they've been building Kevin Owens as far as the attitude and the character and the pile driver. That's fine. I have no problem with that. No problem with Cena and Cody. No problem with the ladies triple threat. Outside that, where is WrestleMania's 2 nights? You're talking about 3 matches. There should be 7 matches each night. We got 3. We got 3. We need 11 more with meaning. Why are Logan Paul and AJ Styles going one-on-one? Can anybody figure that one out? Or is that just another random match that they're throwing on the card just for WWE to say they included AJ and Logan Paul on WrestleMania? Look at what they did with the New Day. Look at what they did with the New Day. One of the best heel turns of the modern era on Big E. Did WWE do anything to capitalize the momentum of the New Day coming out of that turn? No, they did not.
The New Day have been off television for a while now. I think they're to a point where they're losing momentum. They're becoming irrelevant. So they should win tag team titles.
They ran the same angle every fucking week. And they played it off as that was the plan all along. No, motherfucker, that's not the plan. You are just fucking bad at your job. And you could not creatively write for those 2 gentlemen to fucking get to the next part of what they needed to do. That's what happened. How do you turn on Big E and then it goes nowhere for months? Only to then turn into what we got now. New Day feuding with Rey Mysterio and the LWO. That's the big coming out of Big E, coming out of turning on Big E. That's the big plan for the New Day, feuding with the Luchadors. The quicker you open your eyes to the bullshit that you're being spoon-fed, the quicker you will realize that you are being played for a fucking fool. These billionaires do not give a fuck about it. They do. By this time last year, we were out the ass with emotion. I'm still waiting for that emotion. Show was fucking terrible. Every bit of this show was terrible. Mason says, JD, it's $400 to sit in the upper rises for the Glasgow Monday Night Raw. Mason, if you're paying that type of money to sit in the fucking nosebleeds, man, you are a complete fucking idiot. I'm not saying you, but whoever decides to pay that is a complete fucking idiot when you can sit in the comfort of your own home and yeet in front of your television. WWE has gotten very comfortable with the product that they've put out. And the fans right now are not getting anywhere close to that in return. And if you don't expect me to speak up on that, and you don't expect me to speak up on the fucking god-awful television we're getting on Wednesday nights, with the lack of logic and storytelling coming out of that fucking show, I don't know what the fuck you want out of me, and I don't know what you expect out of someone like me and this channel. I don't. Can you imagine what we would be and what we would look like and what we sounded like if everything was fucking great and I gave you this fucking fake positivity and I spun it in a way where it was, let's wait, guys. This got the making of a great... Is how you get there. How would it feel if I was given 120 and building this channel from the ground up? Don't you think it's a lot better when I go to the dealership and I say, hey, there will be people with blinders on and there will be apologists. If we get there, it's a great show. It's a great show. If we get there and the story is fucking great and the road is great, it's a fucking unbelievable show. That was last year. This year, we're not getting anywhere. Thank you guys for being here tonight. We got 2,300. Boots comes on in, leaves no message, drops a 150 on top of the bar. The Randy Orton who kicks people in the head.
Think I made this long enough. I'm gonna end the video.
Ahoy there! Can I be of assistance?
Same thing.
What level of CGI they have? I thought it was an electric segment here. One that was designed, I think, to allow the crowd.
Well, hit that like button, leave a comment, please subscribe to my channel. Until next time, I will be back with more. I'll see y'all later.